Morning, good afternoon. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are. Welcome to the launch event of the Trade and Biodiversity Statistical Tool of the United Nations Conference on Trade and Development. I am Ivana Padierna, Communications Officer at the UNCTAD BioTrade Initiative, and I will be chairing this session today, which will run from 12 to 12:30 p.m. Next slide, please. I think we lost the slides. Well, while we have it again. Okay, yeah, thank you. So let us first go quickly over a few basic housekeeping rules. So please note that there will not be a space for questions and answers in this event today. So you are invited to use the chat or reach out to us by email at biotrade@unctad.org to ask any questions, share feedback, and we will be happy to answer them afterwards. If you use the chat, please make sure to share your email address together with the questions so we can reply to you. For the panelists, may I ask you to mute your microphones when not speaking? And also, this is meant to be a short and sweet launch event. So please try to keep your interventions within your designated time. Next slide, please. Okay, so you can see on the screen the agenda of today's event. We are very happy to present you the newly developed UNCTAD's Trade and Biodiversity Statistical Tool. Some of you maybe already know that historically, the collection and reporting of statistics and data related to trade in biodiversity-based products has been limited, scattered, and difficult to compare due to heterogeneity of its sources. So now, for the first time, a comprehensive repository of trade-related information on goods originating from biological resources, as well as a complete classification developed for the analysis of trade dynamics related to biodiversity-based goods, is available to users worldwide. So without further delay, let's get started. I am pleased to give the floor to Teresa Moreira, Head of the Competition and Consumer Policies Branch and Rotational Officer in charge of the International Trade Division at UNCTAD, for the opening remarks. So dear Teresa, please, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Ivana. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are joining us. On behalf of UNCTAD, I would like to welcome you all to the Trade and Biodiversity Statistical Tool launch event under the UNCTAD BioTrade project on linking trade, biodiversity, and sustainable development, funded by the Swiss State Secretariat for Economic Affairs, SECO. The program, launched in 2018, aimed at contributing to the advancement of the Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs, and the Aichi biodiversity targets, as well as supporting the development and implementation of the upcoming post-2020 global biodiversity framework by increasing coordination and knowledge sharing among biotrade partners, creating an enabling policy environment for biotrade, and facilitating market linkages for biotrade companies. Today, UNCTAD presents its new Trade and Biodiversity TraBio database, a publicly accessible online statistical tool with groundbreaking data on global trade flows and related indicators of over 1,800 biodiversity-based products. This database has been jointly developed by the UNCTAD BioTrade Initiative under my Statistical Information Technologies unit, which I would like very much to thank for. It provides consistent, complete, and harmonized data on imports and exports of biodiversity-based products and other relevant indicators. The availability of this data is of paramount importance, as data has always been the missing factor in tracking the importance of biodiversity-based products in achieving global biodiversity goals and targets, such as the Sustainable Development Goals Aichi and post-Aichi targets. This database is not only a milestone, but also a very timely project intended to contribute to the implementation phase of the post-2020 Global Biodiversity Framework, currently being negotiated under the auspices of the Convention on Biological Diversity, CBD, and expected to be adopted by the CBD 15th meeting of the Conference of the Parties, COP15, in December 2022 in Montreal, Canada, since the framework requires indicators to measure and monitor primary data. UNCTAD's Trade and Biodiversity database will help policymakers make statistic-informed decisions, but also supports the work of the private sector, civil society organizations, and other actors in the trade and biodiversity community. Looking forward, this database aims to contribute to the longer-term goal of establishing an harmonized and internationally accepted statistical framework for trade in biodiversity-based products. Let me please extend special thanks to SECO and to all the partners and experts from institutions such as the Ministry of Environment of Peru, the Ministry of Environment and Water of Ecuador, the Ministry of Environment and Sustainable Development of Colombia, from Peru, Helvetia Swiss Intercorporation, ABS Capacity Development Initiative, and Phytotrade Africa, which were consulting during the development of this new statistical tool and have been key in its development. This event aims to present the different components of the Trade and Biodiversity Statistical Tool and explain its importance in monitoring and tracking progress on global biodiversity goals, including its contribution to the post-2020 Global Biodiversity Framework. In our event today, we will have a first presentation on the objectives of the tool and the product classification by the UNCTAD BioTrade Initiative, and a second one on the database and its visualization tool by the UNCTAD Statistical Information Technologies Unit colleagues. Let me conclude by thanking once again all partners and experts consulted in the development process of this tool and SECO for their continued support and collaborative work that made this successful project possible. Let me also thank all the participants for their interest. I wish you a very fruitful launch event. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Teresa, for these remarks. We will begin now with a presentation by Julian Bendo, consultant to the UNCTAD BioTrade Initiative, on the objective of the tool and the product classification. So, dear Julian, please, you can take the floor now.
Okay, hi everyone, let me share my screen. I don't know if you see it.
Yes.
It's fine, okay.
Fine.
So, thank you, Ivana. Yeah, first of all, I'll give you an introduction and some background on the Trade and Biodiversity Statistical Tool. And then our colleague David Cristallo from the Statistics Service will show the data and the tool with a bit more detail. So, as you mentioned, Ivana, trade data that was catered specifically around biodiversity has been historically scattered and not very harmonized. And so, as a consequence, the need was identified to compile all this available trade flow data on biodiversity-based products in one place, and as well to organize it or classify it in a way that makes sense to all stakeholders working around biodiversity. So, as such, the objective of the tool, as it shows on the slide, is to provide this information in a standardized and a comparable way, and thus help formulating and reviewing trade and biodiversity policies, for example, to prevent biodiversity loss, but also to support academic research or the development and implementation of international processes such as the post-2020 Global Biodiversity Framework or the SDGs. Another underlying objective is that this statistical tool, for it to become an internationally recognized standard for biodiversity related trade statistics, and thus contribute to harmonizing the concepts and the data used in around different applications, such as, for instance, research, but reporting or policy making, but also for the private sector, etc. And this way facilitating the comparison and as well the transferability of results between these applications. The whole work around the statistical tool started in 2019, where the BioTrade Initiative and the Statistics Service got together and started the conceptualization of the statistical tool. And they came together to do a sort of a pilot project with a reduced number of countries and products. But then this was successful, and the pilot project was upscaled to become a complete global database in the past 2 years and until today. So the statistical tool is formed mainly by 3 elements. I'll go a bit more into the first component, and then David will explain the other 2. The first component is a bit more conceptual in nature, and is what we called the universe of biodiversity-based goods. That is the set of all traded goods that originate from biodiversity, and I'll get back to that in a minute. But it is based on the harmonized system and has a list of 1,814 subheadings that have been selected from it. It's in addition to it, there's also a specific product classification that has been developed to classify all these subheadings according to a logic that serves the purposes of people working with biodiversity. And so the first component provides a little bit the base for the other 2, which are the second one is the Trade and Biodiversity database. So that's the physical space on UNCTAD Statistics platform, UNCTAD Stat, where all the information is contained. It contains bilateral trade information, so imports and exports between all the existing countries for all these 814 products for all years since 2010 to last available year. In addition to trade flow data, it also contains information on 9 trade and market indicators, such as, for instance, growth rates, market and product concentration indexes, and so forth. Then the third component is a web page that allows the user to visualize the data contained in the database in a more intuitive way through interactive maps and charts that can be toggled around, but you'll see that in the next presentation. So the products that are contained in the statistical tool are based on the harmonized system, which is a product classification that was developed by the World Customs Organization with the objective to track trade in international goods. This product classification has been selected as preferred, to other existing ones because of the high level of detail that it provides in the specification of the different kind of products, and this serves our purposes really well. So we selected 1,814 subheadings from the 2017 edition of the HS. That's about 1/3 of all existing subheadings. This list of subheadings cover all goods that have a biological origin. That includes plant and animal species found on land, water, and air, and so forth. These subheadings were selected if they satisfied at least one of the criteria on the screen, meaning that either they're in their entirety a biological resource, such as, for example, a fruit or an animal or a product with a vegetable origin or so on. Or they have a biological resource as their main component, such as, for example, shirts and cotton that may still have, I don't know, buttons and plastic, for example, that are fundamentally made of cotton. Or they are directly derived from biological resources, such as soap containing glycerol, which is usually derived from animal fats. In addition to that, products that could be considered natural or being part of nature, but that do not have a biological origin, such as, for example, water or minerals or metals, they have not been included in this list of in the universe of biodiversity-based goods. This list was established thanks to UNCTAD's in-house expertise, but that was also complemented with a lot of desk research and webinars and expert consultations, meaning we really tried to reach out to as many people as possible when compiling this information. Just to give you an example, the subheading related to methanol was initially included in the list because it can be synthesized from biomass. But upon consultation with experts of the field, it emerged that it's generally not. And most of the traded methanol would be having a synthetic origin, and so it has been removed from the list. So analyzing and going through this list of products, since it's quite a big list, would be quite difficult by itself. So for this reason, we developed a product classification that takes these 1,814 subheadings and groups them into different aggregated categories and levels. That's done with the goal to facilitate the analysis of topics related to biodiversity. So for example, aggregates have been created that classify goods according to the origin, such as products having an animal or a plant origin, but also according to the use, such as, for example, one of the product aggregates relates to agricultural inputs. But the aggregates were also selected to support ongoing international processes, such as the post-2020 GBF. A good example of that is the medicinal plants subgroup that is being considered as an indicator for the monitoring framework of the GBF. So the classification itself has a tree-like structure with aggregates branching out over 4 levels of aggregation. They're going from left to right on the slide. The most aggregated level we called groups. Groups contain subgroups, which in turn contain categories, which contain subcategories. They go from groups being the most aggregated ones and subcategories being the least aggregated ones. For some products where no additional level of detail is needed, the tree branch ends at the category level, which is why there's more categories than subcategories. And in very few cases, that's also the case for at the subgroup level already. Okay, I think that's it from my side. That's the first component of the TraBio statistical tool. The next presentation by a colleague will illustrate a little bit better the database and the visualization tools. They're both already online and can be accessed via the links that are on the screen. And yeah, they're free to use for anyone. So again, yeah, that's it from my side. I thank you very much for your attention, and back to you, Ivana.
Thank you, Julian. Many thanks for this interesting presentation on the aims of the tool and the goods classification. It really helped understanding the purpose of this whole project. So now we will move on to the second and last presentation of today by David Cristallo, Chief of the Statistical Information Technologies Unit of UNCTAD, who, as Julian said, will show us the tool on UNCTAD Stat and then give us a demonstration of the database and the visualization tools. So dear David, please, the floor is yours.
Thanks, Ivana. Let me first share my screen. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Hello, everyone. So I'm David from the Statistics Service in UNCTAD. I'm going to present you the data sets and the data visualizations that we prepared in close collaboration with our colleagues from the Trade Initiative team. All the work that we've done together is available on the UNCTAD Statistical Portal. To find this statistical hub from the UNCTAD.org website, just click on the statistics menu. And then you scroll a little bit and you will see the UNCTAD logo, which will direct you to the UNCTAD main page. So basically, this is where you will find all the latest news on UNCTAD statistics. You'll find links to statistical reports. You'll find our country profiles. You'll find the nowcast that we release on a weekly basis. And well, last but not least, you will also find the entry door to our data center, which contains most of the statistics that are compiled by UNCTAD and made publicly available. Today, we are interested in the Trade and Biodiversity folder with the 12 data sets that we prepared with our colleagues from the Trade and Biodiversity team. So there you will find data on imports, exports, trade balance, trade growth rates, some details at product level for some priority products. You'll find also some indicators like the biotrade share as a percentage of total trade or as a share of GDP. And also some statistical indices like the product or market concentration index or the market structural change or the reveal comparative advantage. There is a small I near to each data set. This gives you a bit more information on what is available in each data set. Let me quickly show you a report so that you can see how the data browser looks like. So this is one of the reports that is available. I don't have time to show you all the features that you can use, but just keep in mind that you can easily adjust the default layout to better meet your needs. You can drag and drop any dimension of the report. You can filter the items you want to see. I can drag the economy here, for example. And let's imagine that I'm interested in country statistics. I can select the individual economies. Let's imagine I don't want all the years, but I just want to focus on the latest years available. That can quickly be done by selecting only those items of interest for me. And well, maybe I also want the flows to appear in my report. And well, that's it. As soon as you're happy with the layout, you can download data in Excel or CSV format. Should you want to download a full data set, then probably your best option is to use the bulk download files that are available in the bulk download section. For each report available in the data center, there is a machine readable file that is available there. So the Trade and Biodiversity ones are here. One important thing to know is that all those data have been prepared on the basis of official statistics that are reported by countries to the UNCTAD team. For their reporting, countries use the harmonized system classification, which is a nomenclature of the goods that are traded. And we have used for the compilation of those data sets the 2017 edition of the HS classification. At the beginning of my presentation, I told you that we also prepared some data visualizations. These are available in the data exploration section of the website. On this page, you will find some background information and some more detailed information on the All BioTrade Initiative, and you will also find those data visualizations that we prepared, so interactive maps and some interactive charts. On the first map, we have two indicators. We have the value of exports and imports for the selected product aggregate, which is the total biotrade by default, but you can select one of the sub aggregates that are available in the drop-down list. You can switch between flows by using what we call the indicator selector, which is on the top left of the map. On the top right, you see that there are some countries selected. Those countries are the top five trading economies for the selected product aggregate. So by changing the selection, the list will also change. You see that there are some arrows on the map. These identify the three main trading partners for the selected countries for the export or import side. You can do your own country selection if you want. You can clear the default selection using this cross in the box, and you can select any country of interest to you, either by clicking directly in the map or by selecting a country in the list. On the second map, we have four indicators. Again, the indicator selector is on the left. You can switch between any of them. You have the main export or main import for the selected product aggregate. By default, again, it is total biotrade, but you can select any of the proposed sub-aggregate in the list, and the map will be updated accordingly. We have two other features on this map. We have a time slider at the bottom right of the map. There you can explore the data set across the full time series and see if there are changes in the main imported or exported product, for example. There is another feature. My screen is a bit small, but another feature in this map is the chart below, which shows for the selected product aggregate the value of exports or imports for the selected aggregate sub items. One thing I did not mention, you can zoom in the map if you want more details. You can also reset the zoom, or if you have a small screen like me, you can just maximize the map so that you can have a bit more details. The last map is another selection of indicators, this time for the total biotrade, and we have 6 indicators: trade balance, exports growth, import growth, the biotrade as share of total exports, the biotrade imports as a share of total imports, and the share of GDP. Again, you can explore the full data set across time, and you have an interactive chart below that is showing the full time series for the selected countries. I think my time is nearly over now, so I'll stop my presentation here. Should you have any question or any feedback on what has been done, please, you can drop an email to the statistics help desk email address, which I think is shared in the chat. Many thanks for your attention. Back to you, Ivana.
Thank you very much, David, for showing us these impressive interactive maps and charts of trade flows and indicators. It is really amazing to be able to see and understand this complex data in such a visual, clear, and user-friendly way. So thank you very much. As David said, yes, if you have any questions, feedback, we have the statistics help desk email and also the BioTrade email. Both are shared in the chat. So we are coming to the end. I would like to thank everyone for your attention. I really hope this presentation today has been interesting for you. And please also, I would also take this opportunity to express special thanks and congratulate my colleagues at UNCTAD, Julian and David, for your great effort on developing this tool, and well done and well-deserved success. Also, please note that the recording of this session will be uploaded on UNCTAD's YouTube channel. We will share it in the website of the event, as well as on BioTrade social media and UNCTAD Stat social media as well. So I now turn to my colleague Julian for closing remarks. Thank you all very much.
Thanks a lot, Ivana. Thank you very much. I'll try to be really brief. I just want to take a minute to underscore how this webinar introduced the importance of the work of the BioTrade Initiative in the context of its global biotrade program, which is funded by SECO. The TraBio statistical tool is significant because it integrates lessons learned from many of UNCTAD's projects, which are drawn from their vast experience in supporting developing countries. And this way, it helps to highlight the crucial role that trade has in helping preventing biodiversity loss and environmental degradation, and as a consequence, ensuring prosperity for all. Up to now, data to back up this kind of findings was sparse and scattered, and now for the first time we're happy to have this data compiled and presented in one place only. As was said, the statistical tool was created to facilitate the work of governments and researchers and stakeholders in the development of their activities. And also it wants to provide inputs into other national and international processes, such as the SDGs, the post-2020 GBF, but also those led by the CBD or national biodiversity strategies and action plans. However, in the medium term, the goal is for the statistical tool and product classification, actually, perhaps even more so, to become an internationally accepted statistical framework for trade and biodiversity-based products. So this being said, I'd like to thank all participants for joining today, as well as for their attention and interest in the statistical tool that's a joint creation of the BioTrade Initiative and the UNCTAD Statistics Service. As we've seen, the tools are already available online and is hosted on UNCTAD Statistics platform, UNCTAD Stat. One thing to keep in mind is that there are two upcoming methodological documents, one on the statistical tool as a whole, and one that is more specific to the product classification, which are in the process of being published and hopefully coming out in the next few weeks. And they'll provide a more comprehensive description of the methodological approach behind the tool and the decisions that were made, as well as some definitions and challenges with a lot more detail. So keep an eye out if you're interested in that. Either way, we look forward to the next phase of the project to keep promoting this statistical tool, as well as mainstreaming the positive contributions that trade can have for biodiversity. Yeah, in the meantime, in case you're interested, the presentations and all the documents related to this webinar will be on the events page. And as Ivana said, please feel free to email us if you have any questions or comments at biotrade@unctad.org. And yeah, we'll be more than happy to get back to you. So again, my renewed thanks to all who attended. Also, a special thanks would go to UNCTAD Statistics Service, David, and all the other colleagues as well who contributed, without whom none of this would have been possible. So thank you very much. And of course, an additional heartfelt thanks goes to our funding donors, SECO. as all this work has been possible thanks to their contribution. So we're already a bit over the time, so I think that's it from my side. Thank you to everyone again, and yeah, I declare the meeting as closed. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Julian. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Everyone.
Have a good afternoon.
Have a great day.
Bye, everyone. Bye.
Bye-bye.